Well, good evening, good evening. I don't know where Rogue's gone. She's gone off camera already. There she is.
I'm here.
You weren't ready for that introduction then. You just completely disappeared, and we were just practicing on air, and then you just gone.
So sorry about that, but I just had a bit of a dilemma.
What was that?
Oh, took you a while. So I thought that I'd turn my sound down, and as the intro was coming in, the sound was up. So I started screaming at my son, going, "Help! Help!" And actually, oh my God, it's coming on my TV now. Everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong.
And I think your internet connection is not very good because you're blurry. And with such a beautiful face, we can't have that. We've got to get that sorted, right? So maybe tell everyone in the household to turn their Wi-Fi off. Are we live? Oh, we are. We are. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Richie and Rogue Unfiltered. Oh, we're so glad to be back, Rogue. Sorry about Saturday brunch show. We were traveling.
You zoom me out. I'm just like, all I can see is me.
Oh, okay, like that. There we go. That's better. Well, good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you to all of our subscribers, our members, all of you that follow us on all of our social media channels. We really do appreciate you all. And we're back. It's Sunday Night Live. Man, we've been so busy, Rogue, haven't we? So much going on.
Like full on. I don't even know how I'm still alive. It's been that full on. Like, how do we do it? You hit like in your 20s, you're like totally down with it. You can go 3 days without sleeping. You can sort of do what you want when you want, and you don't suffer. You have like 2 hours out of sync, and you're like that. Oh my gosh, I need a week to recover. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't like
well, normally in my 20s, I was flat out taking drugs, so 3 days was easy, right? So then a week to two. But now, of course, we don't do that anymore. But you know what I'm saying? Youngsters have got more energy. We just don't have that energy anymore, do we? We're getting older, Rogue, aren't we?
Indeed, and that's my worry.
Mm-hmm.
Life is short, and we need to look after it.
But you're like a fine wine. You're maturing. It's like a vintage wine. You know, the older the wine gets, the more beautiful it is. That's what they say, anyway, right? And you're just like that, my love.
Am I? Fine wine. So my mum isn't. So I'm really grateful that I
am. Right. So what's been happening this weekend? So we've got a couple of guests on tonight. We've got Howard Cox from Fairfield coming on in a few moments to talk about the massive increase in fuel duty set by the government. Of course, some places have seen 7.3% surge in prices. I mean, if you've been to the petrol pump this week, you will have noticed it as well. Absolutely extraordinary amounts of taxation on our fuel. A lot of it's been blamed on Iran and the war and everything else, but we know the government are partly to blame as well. We're going to come to that as well a little bit later in the show. We have a wonderful guest, our regular investigator, Joak, as well. But we met a couple of people this week, Rogue, didn't we, on our travels?
But first of all, before we go into that, I just want to tell you all, I'm a mum in a million. Thank you very much to my children. My son, actually, that bought me a card. And I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to every mummy that's watching.
Oh, that's so sweet. And you did a lovely video on that as well. Really, really sweet. Really nice. I meant a lot to a lot of people because, as you say, sometimes mums have to be the mums and the dads at the same time. And that's a massive, massive task. So hats off to all you amazing women out there.
Actually, it's also like important is that when you're a single mum and you don't have much money and you don't have like the support of a family, and then or a single dad, like, but just because it's Mother's Day, so I'm not singling out mums or dads, right? But when you have like all these other mums getting all these gifts and then you're sat there with no gifts whatsoever because you can't afford to give your children to pay things for you, and then you still have to sit there and you're sort of watching everybody else. It's this consumerism bullshit thing, you know, and actually makes people feel bad. And actually I just want to celebrate who we are as a mother, the very fact that we have that maternal feminine energy that actually nurtures our children. That just watching them play, just watching them be themselves is actually the greatest gift ever. That's my bit today.
Yeah. And I'm down here at my mum's as well, incidentally, and we had a wonderful day today. But my mum, I said, what do you want for Mother's Day, Mother? Do you know what she said to me? McDonald's. She wanted a McDonald's. So I was like, Mom, a McDonald's? Yeah, she wanted a plain cheeseburger, small fries, and a banana milkshake. Mother's Day.
Oh, Joe, right, when I was pregnant, I used to actually have a banana milkshake and my fries and an ice cream, and I'd dip it in the banana milkshake first, then scoop it in the ice cream and eat them. It was my weird craving, as well as eating a big spoonful of Marmite. Pregnancy is weird, isn't it? See, look, you go through the whole 9 months of pregnancy, then you give birth, then you become this mother, then the man leaves, and then you're just literally on your own, having to do it all. It's great fun.
Sounds like it. Anyway, are we just counselling each other here? Anyway, no, we've been busy this week because we had an event down in Swansea at Cinema and Co Rogue, didn't we? That was great, wasn't it?
It was great. It was really good fun, actually, apart from the heckler, because the heckler was literally, look at me and my little fluffle. Do you want to like Dick Whittington in a pantomime with that top on?
Slightly, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm looking for my keys in my pocket, hopefully. This was the Together Association Taking Back Democracy tour that we've been part of and supporting Alan Miller and the guys. And we were at Cinema and Co. It was a great turnout, Rogue, wasn't it?
It was really, really good because we obviously went there and we invited like 2 of the groups as well, which were really, really sort of important to invite because they're really also quite instrumental within Swansea and in Wales. And it's so, so important. Like the word together is obviously that foundational pull that we all need to come together. It doesn't matter if we agree on everything or disagree on everything. It matters that we have the principled values where we all agree that actually this is what we want to fight first. And obviously the biggest thing at the moment is the digital ID. Then you've got the farmers. Then, you know, we've got this net zero madness as well. And they all intertwine. And it's so when you're talking about one, actually, we're talking about all 3 of them that become an entangled mess that the government just want to seek pure control.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the digital ID, the net zero scam, the attack on our farmers has been absolutely non-stop, isn't it? And it's great to see so many different groups fighting against it. And we actually, while we were there as well, we also got to launch Calon Cymru, which is a brand new pressure group, think tank that the team have created here in Wales. Do you want to tell the folks a little bit about that, Rogue?
So Calon Cymru means heart of Wales, like the beat, the heart of Wales. And basically it was birthed, actually, I'm going to be very honest, a lot of Welsh people were quite disillusioned with Advance. And when we left, a lot of people left with us and they all asked what we're going to do next, where we're going to go, what's going to happen. You know, we don't want to be just kind of meandering in the wilderness. You know, what do we do? So we decided to do something very specific for Wales. And, you know, it's the team, it's everybody that want to make a difference, that are coming together as a collective, as a collaborative, as a pressure group to basically hold all the MSs to account, to hold MPs to account, to start fighting, you know, regarding education and all the really important things here in Wales, which is also the NHS, you know. So it's an instrumental tool at the moment to put pressure on to try and make that difference and that change here in Wales.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, you know, there's been so many left-wing leaning, you know, think tank, pressure tanks here in Wales. Yes, Cymru being for Welsh independence, many others. And even in the media, we know it's very left-wing biased as well. And it's great because we're coming into a gap in what I think in the political landscape here. We're apolitical, so we work with anybody that believes in what is right for the people of Wales when it comes to the education, when it comes to public services, health, all the things that affect ordinary people. And I think they've been forgotten by politicians for far too long. And so we're going to be doing a lot of lobbying, a lot of protests, a lot of events, Rogue, aren't we, with Calon Cymru? Really excited about that. So a big thank you to all the team for that. So that's a little bit. We also bumped into someone this week. We had some time with this gentleman.
I love him. Do you know, that smile is just so beautiful. I actually, do you know, when he's serious, he looks like grumpy, but when that smile bursts out, he's just like the sunshine coming out of the clouds, I swear.
I think he smiled a bit more when we both give him a kiss like that. I think he enjoyed that, didn't he?
He's brilliant. Lots of kisses, lots of fun. It was a great night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So we've been very busy this week. But listen, a lot has been going on, isn't it, Rogue? And we wanted to bring our guest, Howard, on because from Fairfield UK, because, as you know, folks, the Chancellor has made some announcements as well around the fuel duty and everything else. And as you will have known, if you go to a petrol pump right now, the price of fuel, in some places, it's still pretty low. You know, there's no regulation that they have to all be the same, as we've discussed with our guest, Howard Cox, before on the show. But it's going to get a lot worse, and there's a lot to be said. So we're going to bring our guest in now. Wonderful to have him back on the Richie and Rogue show. Good evening, Howard. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Hello, you two. How are you both?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, okay. Very, very, very busy on the fuel thing and a few other things as well. But yeah, it's terrible times at the moment. I just hope this government can wake up and actually do something about it and recognise they have the power in their hands to actually make our lives better.
Yeah. Howard, are we going to see some? Sorry, Rogue, go on.
No, it's okay. I was going to say.
We're in different locations today. So, Howard, are we going to see these scenes again, do you think? I don't want to be an alarmist, but are we going to start seeing these scenes before the prices surge again? And what are the government actually doing? What is Rachel Reeves actually doing? Because they're saying they're helping motorists, right? Well, we know they're lying, right? But they're raising fuel duty. Can you explain to the layman what that actually means?
Well, will we see queues again? I probably will do, depending on. I may have caused a bit of a few queues when I said I got told off by Ruth Cadbury MP, who's chair of the Transport Committee, for actually saying, you know, there are going to be problems of pump prices going up. But she was quite happy for people to hang on a bit while pump prices were rocketing. And in some cases, you quite rightly pointed out, they've gone up by 3 or 4 pence in some places, but in some places they've gone up by 25, 30 pence. And that's the whole issue. It's like the Wild West out there in terms of pump pricing. And none of us have ever known how the actual calculation, when, you know, oil goes up and when it comes down, what happens at the pumps? There's no logical, you can't get a slide rule out and say, you know, tick that box, and that means we'll be paying this. And that's the issue that I'm calling on. It's not just the taxable aspect of it, which is I've been fighting for 16 years. We managed to keep people frozen. In fact, it's come down in 10% since 2010 because of our efforts. And I have to give credit to Rishi Sunak in 2022, actually bring it down by 5p. But as you rightly point out, Richie, in September, the budget coming up, they're planning to put it up. They're putting it up by 1p, then 2p, then 2p over a period of 6 months from the budget. But that's not the point. What they don't understand is how crippling pump prices are to the economy. You know, every time we get inflation mentioned, the next line, you know, in all the news reports is, well, pump prices have gone up or gone down. Usually, so it's probably one of the major factors on the impact on inflation. And what the government are doing, let's answer that question. I've been rabbiting away here, but the actual crucial thing here is they're doing bugger all. They're talking, you know, a good story. They got the Petrol Retailers Association into 10 Downing Street. They didn't turn up because they were upset with some of the ministers inflaming the situation, and some of their retail people have been actually abused by customers. And we don't support that whatsoever. That's wrong. And this is an important point to get across. Retailers aren't necessarily, 90% retailers aren't to blame. It's mainly the fuel wholesalers further up the fuel supply chain that manipulate everything. And I've just finished a survey, which has been in a lot of the reports. You know, it's been on. Mike Graham has covered it. It's good to see you kissing him. Fundamentally, pump prices went up even before new petrol deliveries were actually delivered to the forecourts. I was on Good Morning Britain last week, and I was outside a Shell and BP garage in Tunbridge Wells. And we went in to see the people about 6 o'clock in the morning and said, okay, what's happening with petrol? Oh, we're putting it up 2 to 3p in a minute. Oh, what? Oh, you better fill up, they said. Okay, well, have you got a delivery coming in? They said, no, we haven't. That's pure opportunistic profiteering. And that's my point. But we got to have that thing which I introduced with Claire Coutinho in the last government, Minister of Energy, a thing called Pump Watch, which fundamentally does real-time updating on a daily basis. Every morning, the retailer has to put into a little computer. It goes to a central independent place that actually monitors pump prices in relation to oil changes. That's all we're asking for. I want them to make a profit. I've got no problem with that. But please, can you be open, transparent, and honest? And that's what we're not getting.
I mean, I saw that you got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you went there, and then you like filmed, and I saw that. How much time and effort are you putting into this to kind of really make people aware? Because we can see what's happening, but it's how do we then deal with it, isn't it?
Well, Rogue, it's a good question. I mean, I've been doing this for 15, 16 years. Suddenly, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. We're seeing it from the Tories. We're seeing it from Reform. I mean, Reform up in Derbyshire, they actually put their livery all over a garage, with a picture of Nigel Farage. You can buy petrol here for this price. And, where have they been for the last 15 to 16 years? And, Richard Tyson asked me to stand as London Mayor because of my Fairfield UK campaigning. That's why they wanted me. It wasn't because of my incredibly good looks. It's because of the campaigning. But you're right. I mean, it's non-stop, Rogue. It's every waking hour of the day I'm working on this sort of thing. And this survey we've done, we've got 37,000 now completed this, and they're saying this will severely impact on their lives. And the worst part of it, 1 in 10 of them are telling us that they're probably going to cut back on visiting their hospitals for their medical treatment. Those sorts of things. I mean, that's the sort of thing that this government doesn't understand. Of course, the people are going to cut back on luxuries and probably branded foods. They're saying they're doing that, but some are cutting back on foods bills considerably, because if it goes up by what I predict it to go up on average across the country by 20 pence, that's about 10 to 12 pounds for an average family car. And if they're doing that sort of 2 to 3 times a month, that's 30, 40 pounds a month, where they have to earn 50 quid to get that. So what suffers? They don't go out to see their family, their friends. They don't go to the hobbies or go to entertainment. They don't go down the pub. It impacts everywhere on the economy. And the worst part, of course, is the big trucks, doing 7 miles to the gallon. When it goes up for them, we're looking at their prices. Their fill up costs go up by 100 to 150 pounds per tank full. And who's going to pay for that? Us three. The rest are all your viewers. That's who are going to be paying for this. And what they could do is simply, why don't we have to? I think I said it on your show last time. For the next 6 months, why don't they cut fuel duty for 20 pence? See how it works, what it does to the economy. They're getting a huge amount more money from VAT because pump prices are going up. And of course, we've got that immoral aspect of double taxation, the VAT on the fuel duty. I could go on forever, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's right what they're doing, isn't it?
There's a time delay there. Sorry, Rogue. Yeah, I think the concern is as well for a lot of people, Howard. It does affect everybody. Nobody is omitted from this. Everybody is literally, like, if you're taking the kids to school in the morning, you got to put petrol in your car. If you live in a rural area where you've got to travel a fair distance to get there, the food supply, the trucks to bring our food in and stuff like that, it affects every single person. And I think that the taxation system that we have currently on fuel is absolutely immoral, what they're doing. And Rachel Reeves is promising, I heard Keir Starmer at PMQs this week on Wednesday talking about, we're just going to freeze it. But then they said this, we're going to freeze it, but we're going to review it after. Well, we know, what do you mean by review it?
Well, he couldn't answer that. He couldn't answer that question, could he? I mean, I'll give Kemi Benedict, she did try and push it. She said, will you keep it frozen? Simple question. He couldn't answer. He said, well, it is frozen till the budget. And then, as you rightly say, review it. Review it means they put their finger in the air and say, oh, how much more money do we need? How much more can we get from our favourite cash cow, 37 million motorists? Oh, yeah, we'll give them, another push. We can put a penny up. They won't notice that. Yes, they will. The economy will note it. Everything will know it about it. And we still remain the highest tax drivers in the bloody world. This is the amazing thing. And the worst thing about it is diesel. Diesel is you've probably seen the difference between petrol and diesel. I mean, I went one part of a garage today. It's a Merco garage. There was a difference of 25 pence between petrol and diesel. It's obscene beyond belief. And the reason why that's going up so much, even though it's earlier on in the refinery situation to actually refine fuel to get to diesel comes out first, then petrol. There's so many other environmental additives and sort of various things added they have to put in, and taxes, and there's green taxes and all the other things. Diesel suddenly rockets up. And the other thing, of course, is the loyalty cards. which businesses have to use them, and they lose money on that to give discounts to diesel drivers with loyalty cards. So they pass it on in making the price higher. It's a complete mess, and we're the only country in the world that has diesel at the same taxable rate as petrol. Every other country in the world puts diesel something like 5 to 10% less tax than petrol, and especially in the EU. I mean, you go to somewhere like Luxembourg, petrol and diesel is 40 to 50% pence cheaper. Why? They get it from the same place we do.
Yeah.
I could go on.
I'm not saying anything because there's a delay, so Rich, carry on.
No, you go ahead, Ro. Go ahead.
No, I'm just, I'm loving what you're doing, and I'm watching you avidly. I've been sharing some of your stuff, and I'm looking at the pressure. You're kind of calling out Rachel Reeves as well. So I want to thank you for what you're doing, because it's really, really important, and we just want people to get behind you and to back you and to help us, and to help you, because, look, we were talking about Mum in a Millions, right? Just to say, as a single mum, trying to ferry children about rurally is really difficult, because fuel prices rurally are also through the roof. They're astronomical. And then you're kind of then having to run a car, and you're kind of, your kids are like, I want to go here, I want to go there. And because there's no buses, it's really, really difficult to sustain that. And like you said, do I put like a full tank in and then not feed us? Because actually, how do you work it? And I empathize with the other people that have come to you and have said, that they're having to maneuver their finances to actually survive. It's a horrible way to live.
Yeah, but the situation, we have been governed, and you guys know this better than anyone, by clueless politicians. They haven't got they don't, especially the Labour Party, do not understand the real world. This week I'm working with some more Tory MPs, and I think a couple of Labour MPs. We're going to set up the Fairfield UK APPG. We've had that every year, and we're going to hopefully, have a lot more. And you'll be welcome to come along to these things, which we do have receptions and present arguments from more learned people than me who understand the marketplace and why things happen. But one of the things that I want to actually, get sorted, and this is very, very important, is how the bloody hell are petrol prices calculated? You see, if you buy a bottle of milk from that BP garage or that Shell garage, I noticed we got 2 coffees and things like that with the producers and the cameraman and everything. We were there, and in both cases, the coffees and the milk were the same price, but the petrol and diesel prices were 4-5 pence difference, just 50 yards apart. Why? There's only 7 refineries in this country, and all our fuel comes through those 7 refineries. Okay, there's different tanks in those refineries, because if some of the ultimate fuels, the supreme fuels, and all those sorts of things, they have special detergents and additives added to them. So fair enough, that sort of thing. But Costco is selling something like 40 pence cheaper than BP and Shell. How can that be right? You don't get that sort of price difference on things like milk and teas and coffees, do you?
No. And I was actually talking about the milk, actually, because whilst you're saying that, I'm looking at how they're incrementing, sort of like taxes or prices, but then they're actually getting the farmers to chuck their milk down the drains. So there's waste. So that they're building up, the financial kind of deficit for us. And yet we've got milk that could be sustained and go to schools and go to hospitals to look after people. But it's been booted out, poured down the drains for what? I can't understand the government and how they behave, because it's just bizarre. Just bizarre. Sorry, Richie, but I'm just angry.
Yeah, we're just going to... Sorry, Howard. Sorry. Go on.
No, I was just going to say...
I was going to show you...
Go on, you carry on. Carry on.
I just wanted to show you this clip, Howard, because Rogue mentioned there how the government behave, and it ties into the conversation we're having right now to do with the price of oil, obviously, and energy. We know whenever there's a war, it's not good for anybody, right? We would not ever advocate it, and we know there are consequences. We're not going to... We might get into this a little bit later in the show with our other guest who's coming on a little bit later, Joak, to discuss what's happening in Iran. But this is a scene from PMQs this week. So we'll just watch this and see and get your thoughts, Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Why does the Prime Minister think now is the right time to increase the cost of petrol?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we are not increasing the cost of petrol. We're absolutely clear in taking the measures that are necessary to deal with the impact of the conflict in Iran. We're dealing with that with other allies. We're taking the necessary action. But the best thing that we can do, Mr. Speaker, is to work with others to de-escalate the situation. And Mr. Speaker, as I said to the House last week, I took the decision that we should not join the initial US-Israeli offensive against Iran. The leader of the opposition attacked me for that decision relentlessly. She said that the UK should have joined the US and Israel in the initial offensive strikes. Mr. Speaker, then yesterday, in the wake of the economic consequences, the leader of the opposition totally abandoned her position. She told the BBC, "I never said we should join." She told the BBC, "I haven't said we should have gone in with the United States." That is the mother of all U-turns on the single most important decision a Prime Minister ever has to take, whether to commit the United Kingdom to war or not.
Well, I don't know your thought of that exchange. I know you moved it on to the Iran situation, but obviously the heckling there from the benches, because for Keir Starmer...
Sorry,
Sorry,
it's the way that he speaks, and not only the way that he speaks, like, she said, it's like a school playground. She said, Mr. Speaker, she said this. It's like, geez, like, I can't bear to watch this kids' playground anymore.
I just found the hypocrisy of him saying this is the mother of all U-turns, and this is a Prime Minister who's done more U-turns than a blind man trying to drive a car, right? Literally, I don't know, that's a good illustration. But literally, like, I mean, how it, you know, we know it will have effect on the fuel prices because the shipping canals, where they bring the oil through in tankers, Howard. But obviously, he promised not to raise the taxes on fuel, and he's lied, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, they have lied. They're putting it back. That's what they're saying. They're promising. They are giving us a lead time about it. But every time I see them, I'm a bit like you, Rogue. I mean, my intake of antiemetics has gone up considerably every time I look at him. You know, and my feeling about that man. I've never hated people in my life, but there are two people that I despise, absolutely despise. He's one of them, and the other one's Sadiq Khan, and he's picking on the motorists in London. I went to a little protest called Pissed Off Motorists yesterday in Parliament Square, and it wasn't that well supported, which is a bit sad. But, you know, and I spoke to lots of people there, and people are genuinely worried about, you know, there's two big things in your life you spend money on: your house and your car. Those two things. And they're the ones that this government attacks big time. Council tax, we're looking at energy in the houses, etc. Obviously, fuel in cars, all that sort of thing. And they just absolutely wallow in masses of tax that they believe, oh, let's take more tax from these people, and then we can spend more on things like, you know, in unemployment benefit or all the things regarding all the immigrations and the immigrants, all that sort of thing. This is the sort of thing that people are sick to death of. Yesterday, I met a very decent person. She's about 78, 80, that sort of thing. She drives a nice little Peugeot, whatever it's a 101 thing. It's a diesel, and she left it outside the ULEZ zone, that sort of thing, because it doesn't pass that thing, and came in by tube, and she was scared stiff on the tube. You know, that sort of thing. And the whole of the, you know, certainly a lot of the urban areas. You mentioned the rural areas. The rural areas, yes, they're suffering big time, but urban areas has now become just an absolute wild west of danger. I mean it. I see it. I walked all the way down Whitehall yesterday, and there was actually a pro-USA and Israel Palestinian, Iranian protest and things. It was very well, you know, they were very good, etc. But as usual, there was people a bit further up in Trafalgar Square who were basically, you know, going for the Jews, going for everyone else, etc. They're not contributing anything. They're the great unwashed. I looked at all of them. They don't contribute anything to society whatsoever. And I'm not being bigoted here. I'm not being racially or anything like that. These people are ruining our lives. And we've now got a Green Party that now want to get rid of our Christian faith. And we can go all the way through this. I know it's nothing to do with petrol and diesel at the moment, but to answer your question, Rogue, why I'm doing this. I'm bloody angry, love, and I can't stand it anymore.
No, and I hear that, and I'm absolutely standing there with you. Like, we are completely ruined.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think the leader of the Green Party, he can hypnotize people to make their boobs bigger, can't he? Apparently, that's one of his traits, Rogue, isn't it?
Well, every time I see him, my boobs get bigger. Yeah, that's right.
Well, he's been doing around.
When he hypnotizes, he sends me to sleep. But then there's the deputy, the Muslim, that the little guy. I mean, these are saying that the Church of England will be banned. They're saying things like that. We can't. How Starmer? Well, it just goes to show this is what Starmer wants. So, because he could have sorted this out a long time ago. And when you look at the front bench of those nodding, nomads, they're sitting on the front of his gnomes, in front of when at PMQs, which is just become a farce. He doesn't answer questions. To give Kemi Badenoch a due, she is doing a reasonable job. In opposition, it's very difficult, as you know. But she's asked a question: why is he putting up the cost of fuel? That sort of thing. And he said, we're not putting it up, and then went on to attack her, and it blames the whole opposition, the whole government, blames everyone else. We've had enough of it. We've got to get rid of these people, but we can't get rid of these people unless backbenchers wake up and do something about it.
Did you see? I posted it the other day. In one of the council chambers, there was to open it, an Islamic man doing his call to prayer. And that's actually how it was open. And I had many, many responses from people just saying, I wish I was brave enough to actually say the Lord's Prayer or sing, is it Jerusalem? To try and actually evoke not just a reaction, but like equality, because there is no equality. If we start to speak up about Christianity, unfortunately for us, we get penalized. We either get, called racist, we get called this, or you have to be silenced. And quite frankly, I am bored of the imbalance within our society. It's just becoming just so farcical. I mean, it's actually frightening, but it's also just like, why are we actually tolerating this? Why?
Yeah, absolutely, Rogue. Look, we know we got the elections coming up locally here in Wales in May, and 2029 as well. There's a lot of time, a lot of things are happening, but the world has changed a massive amount in the last decade, and we all can see it, and not for the better, especially in the United Kingdom, as Rogue has been pointing out. The inequality, whilst we're a compassionate people, it's about capacity. We don't have the capacity to maintain the levels of immigration, legal or illegal, into this country because of the huge burden it places upon the Treasury, which obviously that money should be spent much better than it is, rather than these quangos and the civil service and all these kind of groups being paid ridiculous amounts of money for what? Just for us to tune in on a Wednesday to watch PMQs, watch the circus and the monkeys perform, all pre-scripted. Starmer never even answers the questions, hardly any, most of the time. And most of the times, as we've seen before, we're going to talk about this later. He apologized, just an apology for saying he knew about the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Mandelson before he appointed him. The documentation is there. It's in black and white. It's been opened. And in fact, I'm going to show you a clip, Howard, and we're going to bring Joak in as well in a moment, of a little expose that the Telegraph did. So I give credit to Telegraph on this, because I think this explains it very, very well. And it shows you the kind of Prime Minister that we have right now in this country.
Mandelson files prove the Prime Minister knowingly welcomed the friend of a convicted paedophile into the heart of government. The documents reveal Starmer was warned that Peter Mandelson's particularly close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein posed a general reputational risk. But the Prime Minister appointed him as US Ambassador anyway. This first batch of files, released after calls for government transparency on the vetting process, also prove that Starmer knew Mandelson and Epstein remained in contact after the financier's 2008 conviction. This due diligence report, given to the Prime Minister 9 days before Mandelson's appointment, listed countless concerns about the Labour peer, including that Mandelson and Epstein's business relationship continued after he was convicted of procuring an underage girl for sex in 2008. And the files reveal that those closest to Starmer had concerns about the appointment too. Jonathan Powell, the National Security Advisor, said he found the process unusual and weirdly rushed. So much so that he raised concerns with the top Downing Street aide at the time, Morgan McSweeney. So, what did Starmer know? Included in the Mandelson files was a Telegraph article which plainly outlined all of the links between Epstein and Mandelson. At that time, photographs showing the pair together also resurfaced in the media. Despite those links, which were in the public domain, Starmer went on to appoint Mandelson as ambassador to the United States, one of Britain's most senior diplomatic postings.
It was beautifully stated. What a beautiful accent, too. I'd like to have that accent. Thank you. My mother would be proud.
Once he'd taken office, Epstein's infamous birthday book was released by the US Department of Justice in September 2025. It showed the public that Mandelson had much deeper links to Epstein than had previously been known. A close, intimate friendship after his conviction. Did Starmer sack Mandelson then? No, he didn't. In fact, in the House of Commons, he backed him.
I have confidence in him, and he's playing an important role in the UK-US relationship.
But in a dramatic U-turn, with Labour MPs clamouring for action, Starmer then did go on to sack Mandelson just one day later. Still, he defended his decision to appoint him by claiming not to have known about the extent of his links to Epstein.
And now information has come to light, which had I known it at the time, I wouldn't have appointed him.
But that's the thing. Starmer did know, as he went on to admit himself to Kemi Badenoch earlier this year.
Can the Prime Minister tell us, did the official security vetting he received mention Mandelson's ongoing relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein?
So clear. Prime Minister.
Yes, it did.
That was quite the admission. And the Mandelson files we now see in detail show the warnings to the Prime Minister were extensive. Taken together, it is deeply embarrassing for Number 10. The Prime Minister either took an enormous gamble on hiring an obvious liability into a serious government job, or he made a catastrophic error of judgment that his critics say make him unfit to be Prime Minister. Whether Labour MPs will take action is another matter. They are all too familiar with this kind of debacle. And if we go back to Labour's own manifesto, there's an interesting promise on page 4. Politics, it says, should be driven by a sense of service to the country, not considerations of party or of self-interest. Now, as many see Starmer as a PM in office but not in power, laden with a baggage of U-turns, mistakes and questions over his judgment highlighted by the Mandelson saga, it will be up to the Labour backbenchers and Starmer's own cabinet whether he's still up to the task of delivering on Labour's promises.
Yeah, I thought that was a wonderful description, actually, where we're at. He's a PM in office, but not in power. He's obviously clearly lost he's just lost the country completely. He's lied consistently, multiple U-turns, and with the Epstein files, and we've covered Rogue, haven't we, on this show before, how he can still be in office is absolutely abhorrent when you consider he knew this guy, Peter Mandelson, had, with Jeffrey Epstein, been involved with young girls, and yet still appointed him as the ambassador to the USA. And now he's admitted it, and a day later, after the news came out, got rid of him, Howard. I mean, it's just extraordinary. You know, there would be some other parts of Europe, there'd be riots over this kind of stuff. But us British, for some reason, we just like, well, what do we do? What do we do?
Well, we've seen those pictures also with the terrible trio with Andrew in him and you know, Epstein. No, all three of them sitting together, very cozily working together, and that really makes me want to vomit when I see them three together. What they were planning and how they're manipulating kids and all the things, and you know, there's Ghislaine, you know, behind the scenes that's supplying them with these kids and all that's going on. I cannot bear it having a daughter. I mean, my daughter gets married in 3 or 4 weeks' time, and you know, those are the sorts of things that I just find, you know, I just want to hug them and protect them. And what did these guys just want to have their sexual proclivities with them. And I just don't know how Starmer didn't see it, because we all knew, you know, you only had to type into Google when he was considering him for a US ambassador, just type in, should I have him for US ambassador? The AI would have, Grok on Twitter or X would have come up and said, not bloody likely, you don't do it.
The computer says no.
Yeah, if I'd known about it, he said. What a load, as you say, Richie, this 14, 15th U-turn. He lies after lie. He hates confrontation. He just turns it back on them. You watch him, he points to the top right-hand corner at the reform benches, over there. And then he has a pop at old Ed Davey, even though he's a twat. Ed Davey does try and get something across in a proper professional way, I think. He's not my cup of tea at all. But, thank heavens, at the moment in time, we do have a certain person across the pond, Donald Trump, is actually giving us some sort of protection what's going on. And I'm fed up with people, flip-flopping around whether we should be sorting, Donald Trump in Israel regarding this war. We should be bloody supporting. We should be doing it. We should be right in there. That's my opinion. I mean, even Macron, a socialist bloody president, he's helping out. So why the hell are we not doing this?
Absolutely. Well, actually, Trump was reported, he was on the Air Force One when he was asked about the relationship with him and Keir Starmer is just terrible. And this is what he said. Just watch this video now, we come back.
US President Donald Trump has dismissed Britain's consideration of sending aircraft carriers to the Middle East, saying the United States does not need them to win the war with Iran.
We don't need them. It's not the right time. It would have been nice to have had them 2 weeks ago.
Trump was speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One after Britain's Defence Ministry said on Saturday it was preparing the Prince of Wales aircraft carrier for possible deployment. But no final decision had been taken about whether to send it to the Middle East, a British official said. In response, Trump posted on social media that he, quote, will remember the lack of British support during the conflict with Iran. The president has repeatedly criticised Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer over his stance on the war. He suggested this week that Starmer helped ruin the country's historically close ties after London blocked initial US use of British bases to...
I mean, that's so true. I mean, our closest and strongest ally, for some reason, Keir Starmer seems really intent on destroying one of the most important relationships that we have. And we know that with our armed forces, we've covered this, it's been hollowed out so much over the years, and the previous governments as well. And we got Starmer here. He can't stop boats coming in. You can't even get the boat going out to defend our own interests. I mean, it's crazy. Howard, stay on. We're just going to bring Joak in on this as well. He's our good friend, part of the show. Joak, good evening. How are you, sir?
Good evening, very well, sir. Very well. I'm actually been out delivering milk tray tonight, obviously with how I'm looking, but that's another matter. It looks as as you guys.
Yeah, so we've been discussing, Joak, I know you're in the back room there watching there, speaking to Howard from Fairfield as well, and you heard some of the conversation around the increase in taxes and fuel and everything else. And we've also just looked briefly at the relationship with the USA and what Keir Starmer is seemingly doing. It's as if he wants to destroy one of the most important relationships we have.
Listen, I think it's quite obvious, even to somebody that doesn't take any care in politics or any interest. And I think the question really is what's behind him, because he cannot be such a Nathaniel complete fool that he thinks he's going to get away with doing U-turns every 5 minutes. And the question really is if MI5 had the details about Mandelson to the Prime Minister, why did he still appoint him? Now that's not even inept. It's clearly he's being managed by somebody else. And whether it was Morgan McSweeney or anybody else, if MI5 gave him a document, which they did, confirming all the details about Mandelson, and he still said, yes, we will put him forward, then something is seriously wrong. And I'm going to say something, because I do believe he's being played with somebody, and I do believe that things will come out in the wash later on, but that will be too late for the UK. We have to get rid of him now. And I know what you said earlier about Corbyn, but that's maybe also not such a good idea. But I'm convinced, with what I've been told by people in the Trump administration, people that are actually involved in security services, they cannot understand why he's being such a complete fool. And I'm going to tell you something now. 28 IRGC members arrived in our country before the war started, and Starmer allowed it. So you can draw from that your own conclusions. But I'm seriously worried. He's a complete lunatic.
That's scary. That is scary. No, where the hell are they? Are they being monitored by MI5, MI6? Where are they?
No, that's what we're thinking about. I think we know there's 120,000 have gone missing. I think they said 2,000. It's now 220. But I had it on good authority. These 28 came to the UK. They were senior commanders within that. And when they did that in Iran the first time round, it took them 6 months to turn that country around by getting rid of the royalty. So, they're here already. And that's my biggest worry is what's going to happen, because the fatwa has been issued against the US and Israel. They have to be careful not to issue one against me. But certainly the UK hasn't. And that's because we have not attacked Iran. Now, there's a reason behind that. There are 4 or 5 European countries which subscribe to the IRGC as being a non-terrorist organization. 27 EU countries are saying they're a terrorist organization. So we stand with Yemen, Belarus, Russia, and the Ukraine as a number of countries. And there's only one reason. I broke the story just fairly recently on the day it happened, where I was told that during a meeting with the private secretary and 2 or 3 other people, he said quite clearly, I will not make them a terrorist banned outfit. We're going to allow them to be okay. Now that is beyond all comprehension. And Howard, really, I'm almost at a loss now. I can't believe how this place is going. It seems to be in a B movie, and I want to wake up tomorrow and think that's such a stupid dream. But it's reality. And I just can't get my head around it. I do believe that we're being played at a high level. Starmer is running it. It's a Fabian Society or whatever, I don't know, but it's not looking good.
No.
Lord Hamer, I mean, I always call him Hamer, Lord Hamer, him, like, their relationship is really dark as well. And it's evident, in the way that it all sort of happened, the way that they sort of, gave the underhanded bits of money to, like, I'll get you in and I'll support you, get me in. It's dodgy. It's all so corrupt. And if we were doing this in an actual business, and like you said, Howard, that I sort of hired somebody that I knew had paedophilic tendencies, had been messing about, you'd get fired as well for hiring them from HR, It's just like, what is going on? And they get away with absolutely everything. So like Andrew said, who's above it all? Who is the puppet? What's Blair? Where is Blair in all of this?
No, he's dressing up at the moment, I think, in some toilet somewhere, apparently. I should say that. Sorry, I should have said that. But what I'd like to also say is that I've got it on, and I only do things that are factual, and I will never say anything that's not factual. I know I've got an authority from 2 people at a meeting 3 weeks ago, where this was a meeting with 24 people only, so 2 out of 24. Trump confirmed, and I'm not a Trump lover, by the way, just to put it on the table. I don't like any politician, I don't like any president at the moment. But the fact is that meeting, they discussed what is going to happen next. So once you finish with Iran, and I've some news breaking about Iran as well in a moment, they're going to go after the president of Cuba. And then they're going to go after, and I'm going to tell you now, Iceland. And you may not have thought of that. The Iceland is on their agenda for the minerals and the amount of wealth they have in that area. He's already done a great job in Venezuela and the Straits of Hormuz. That's oil sewn up. He obviously wants the minerals, but he said very clearly at that meeting, the UK and Spain will not be allowed to continue the way they're going. And they will invade, because they're not going to allow the nuclear weapons to be run by a country of lunatics, and they've got their bases. So, and I, without a shadow of a lie, I have to say to you, that came from that meeting. It happened 3 weeks ago. That's scary. I laughed about it when I first heard it last year, but now I'm feeling kind of, well, why not? It's not the worst thing in the world, is it?
So is Keir worried then that the UK will have a fatwa on us as well? Because obviously, like you said, it's with Israel and America. So is he worried, and is he trying to kind of bridge that gap, or is he just placating? What is it?
He again, I'm going to say I've got good authority. Everything I said about the war has been proven later. I came in at first. He did look for a route to get the Ayatollah safe passage, and that wasn't to Russia at the time. That happened, and before Trump made the order. Now, what I understand is Trump and Israel did not go to Starmer because they couldn't trust him. We were one of the few Western countries which did not know about it. And that tells you where his standing is with everybody. He cannot be trusted. The party is rife of people that are not actually loyal to the West. So what's his plan behind it? I'd like to think he's crazy. I'd like to think he's a complete lunatic. But I think something bigger behind it, and that scares me because his plan's been around for a long time. 28 IRGC members already here before the war. That's scary.
Howard, your thoughts?
Well, I'm just listening in awe of what Andrew's saying. I'm learning a lot, so much. Thank you, Andrew, for what you're saying. I mean, I wasn't aware of a lot of this sort of thing going on, but we all had our, as you say, you don't say anything this, you got the facts. But, Starmer is a wanker. That's a fact. But so you say
I said that about me as well, but I'm not quite the company. To be fair.
Yeah, but my feeling is very, the guy. This the way our politics, because we haven't got a democracy, way our politics works at the moment in time, because of this massive majority, because of the complete cock up of the Tory party giving them that majority, and now we've got all sorts of splits on the right hand side, and we won't bring that in here at the moment, Richie. But much how I love you. But from a point of view where we're standing at the moment, the right's got to get its act together to get rid of these bunch of left, and with the tit whisperer, growing by the day, which I just find incredible how people are, falling for that load of shit. And it's interesting, as I said to you, I walked down Whitehall yesterday when I gave a little talk in Parliament Square. I went past so many people that are genuine, honest, decent. I'd say not right-wing thugs. I mean, I've spoken at many a Tommy Robinson rally and things like that. These are decent, honest people. They are genuinely, as Andrew just said, worried sick about where we're going at the moment in time, and we're being led by a complete and utter idiot of a person who's going to take us even further down that route, and probably, he's going to beg to go back into the EU. Those are the sorts of things that's going to happen, and he's alienating the Middle East, he's alienating America, he's alienating Japan, I hear, all those sorts of things that are going on. I'm hearing so much about this man who is actually not worth any of our consideration. And the backbenchers, when they wake up every morning, recognise they're plummeting. In fact, there's 2,000 to 600 on average Fairfield UK supporters in each constituency. And I'll be writing to them all soon to ask them to say, basically to their MP, will you fuck off?
Well said.
It'll be done much more. No, seriously, wake up and you've got to get rid of this government. If you care about our nation, our country, our Christian values, our culture, all the things that we believe in, Richie Rogue, we've talked for many years about this. If they don't believe in it, we are in absolute dire straits. And if we can't get rid of him, the only people that get rid of him is the backbenchers, or maybe some of the things coming out, what he's got some things we're hearing about rent boys again and all that sort of thing. Maybe something will come out and he has to resign, but who's going to replace him?
That's the big question, isn't it? And sorry, Rob, go on.
I just said that's the pertinent question. Who? They're all disastrous. I'm sorry, but look at Jess Phillips, how she is as a minister for women and children. Literally, I can't cope with her. She is absolutely disgusting. The way that she talks is just like black tar comes out of her mouth. There's just this kind of intrinsic evil throughout the whole of Labour, and I just can't stand them.
Yeah, after they're becoming known as the P-Duff party, aren't they? As someone's coined them as. But doing the rounds this morning, Laura Kunsberg Sunday morning, the show I watched earlier, and Yvette Cooper was tasked with going around and giving excuses over the relationship with Trump and with Keir Starmer. And as I mentioned at the start of this conversation, it's one of probably the most important relationships we will ever have. And anybody that supports Israel and America, as Andrew has pointed out, is seen as an enemy to what is a death cult, an Islamic civilization that wishes to destroy not just Israel, but those who support Israel. I was going to show you a clip, two clips actually. One is of Yvette Cooper when she was asked by Laura Kunsberg about how embarrassing Keir Starmer is becoming as a leader on the international stage. And then the next clip is from the USA, talking about the recent elimination of the previous Ayatollah leader that was taken out, and now his son apparently has taken over. We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
I can give the update on that afterwards. I'll tell you.
Yeah. We're going to come to that. So I was going to show these two clips, and we'll be right back.
And it won't surprise you that obviously we don't agree with President Trump on every issue.
But what's your message back to him? I mean, he is publicly, for the whole world to see, telling off the British Prime Minister. This is meant to be our closest ally. What do you say to him?
Well, again, I would say that this is about what's in the UK's interest. It's for the US president to decide what he thinks is.
Right, so that's her, right? Now, you can see the weakness in that leadership. You can tell she's squirming there, right, to get an answer out in it, right? But listen to this is how the Americans deal with things.
Iran's leadership is in no better shape. Desperate and hiding, they've gone underground, cowering. That's what rats do. We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. He put out a statement yesterday, a weak one, actually, but there was no voice and there was no video. It was a written statement. He called for unity. Apparently killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity. Iran has plenty of cameras and plenty of voice recorders. Why a written statement? I think you know why. His father, dead. He's scared, he's injured, he's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them. Who's in charge? Iran may not even know.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely different language, isn't it? I mean, it's from the UK Prime Minister, who's supposed to be a statesman. He's here to protect us. And, this is a legitimate threat to us. People are saying, we shouldn't have gone to war because this is like Iraq point to. This is not like Iraq. It is completely different. I mean, your thoughts, guys?
Well, I think it's way more different from Iraq, and I think the US and the Israelis have gone for Iran, and they've tried to pummel them into the earth. But what they didn't count on, or maybe they count on, but what they probably didn't realize is the stockpiling that they had in Iran, they separated by putting a third in Yemen, and then you got another third in Lebanon. So they had 1/3 of missiles, which they still used. And of course, they know that Lebanon and also Yemen will start firing rockets and have been getting through. But then there's a stockpile, and they destroyed, as far as we are aware, or as far as I've been told, they've destroyed a huge amount of their arsenal. Just tonight, last night and tonight, they made some announcements. They've shown some missiles that they're preparing to launch, which are fuel missiles rather than the other ones which take a while to warm up, which means that they can be shot immediately. And equally, they are also now saying that they are prepared to dirty bomb Israel. Now, that's an escalation that we don't want to see. Regardless of your feelings towards Israel, that's going to escalate the war into the next level. And then the Ayatollah, the new one that's now lost his arm, which has been his left leg has been amputated. He's now in Russia, being treated by the Russians, according to what people are saying to me in Tehran. So he's not been seen for a while. They believe he's in Russia, and Putin's getting him help. So we'll see how that goes. But he's crazier than his dad.
Absolutely. Howard, I know you've got to go in 5 minutes. So do you want to give your thoughts around this kind of US-UK relationship, what you've just seen?
Well, it's so sad. I've got a lot of American friends. I've done a lot of work over there. I was in the pharmaceutical industry. I did loads and loads of things like people like Pfizer, Bristol Myers Squibb, Glaxo Wellcome, all that sort of thing. And I got to know them, and we had a good relationship. They love our accent, they love our culture, our history, all sorts of things, and there's no doubt about it. Donald Trump, you don't have to like him or anything, but he's put huge amounts of money into Scotland in terms of his golf and his leisure complexes, all those sorts of things. They are the most powerful nation in the world, both financially and militarily and morally, in my opinion. And we should be right there. We shouldn't be lapdogs to them. No, we should, fair criticism. But please, you don't rub them that wrong way. And this whole thing about the boat, whatever this boat that's going out, I think it's gone out. It's still in English Channel. I think they've changed some crew in Plymouth or something. I'm reading all sorts of things about how inept we are. We had 12 of these great big £1 billion, incredible battleships, whatever they call. Now we've only got 6, and only one of them's actually, fit to go out there. You cannot believe where. We talk about. I mean, I'm regularly asked this thing about fuel duty. We get about 27 billion a year plus a VAT. It's about 32 billion a year. Where does that go? It's not hypothecated and repairing potholes. No. Where is our money going? And what's going on at the moment? And quite rightly, we've got to sort out our energy. I saw that Kunzberg interview with Ed Miliband recently. He was squirming like mad. He couldn't. The net zero collapse. So it was unbelievable. I loved it because, as you know, we're all pro net zero, aren't we? And from my point of view, to see this government, what we've got, I'm embarrassed beyond belief. But I don't know if it's repairable anymore. I think this time, really, it is irreparable. So, I've got to go, I'm afraid, guys. I'm afraid. So, but great to meet you, Andrew. I mean,
nice to meet you. Likewise.
Yeah, follow you a bit more. So,
awesome. Thank you.
Great. And Richie and Rogue, love you to bits, and see you soon.
Love you.
Yeah, God bless you, Howard.
Don't forget to invite us to your reception so we can come and support you.
Thank you very much indeed. And great. You're great. I love you to bits, and take care.
We love you.
Cheers, Howard.
Take care. Bye, Howard. Do you know, I love Howard with every inch of me. He's just one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. He's just decent. He's honest. He's genuine, and he supports, and he's earthy. He understands people's needs and like how we feel. So I so much respect for that man. Always.
Richie, does she ever say that about you? Just wondered.
Yeah. No. no. Actually,
Andrew, where's my milk tray? Where is my milk tray? It's Mother's Day.
No, I got admission. She actually, we went to an event, and she posted something on X. I haven't got it on here, and she did say that we scrubbed up well. And
I said we.
You didn't say me, no. And yeah, we did. So she is very complimentary, actually. But she is.
And I would say, Richie, that I was going to deliver milk tray to the lovely lady, but her son beat me to it. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So talking about Mother's Day, I seen this today. I just want to show the folks this. Remember, Mother's Day is for mums, not men in dresses. Your day is April the 1st. I saw that. I just thought it was funny. I just show it.
You can't wear your dress now until the April the 1st. So sorry about that.
I've got one. This is a dress. You don't know. Means that stretches. It's all right.
So Andrew, I wanted to ask you a question, and Rogue, actually, because you both did an interview last week, which was just extraordinary. I was producing and filming at the time. Not a very good editor. Forgive me for that.
No, you're good.
But, yeah. So, but what I want to say is I want to show people this clip for a reason, because if you haven't seen this interview, you must see it. You have to watch it. It is so important for you to understand what is really going on in our country, and in Scotland in particular as well, but across the UK. And there's just a short clip. And I want to show you this because I want to show you how passionate and the emotions that are shown from Rogue in this interview, because it gives you a sense of the gravity of the problems and the struggle and the fight that we're facing right now. So just a short little clip, then you must check out the video, which I'll tell you about after this.
And then you have one person that has been raped. Do you know the amount of counselling, the amount of kind of doctor's appointments you have to go through, the trauma that you are experiencing, and the complete disregard for what your perpetrator is doing, right? What the fuck? Why are they doing this to us? They are breaking us down. They are removing the parts of us that we need as women. And Keir Starmer is watching this happen. He is making us more vulnerable. And those poor girls that are suffering at the hands of Keir Starmer, who is allowing this, and who's above Keir Starmer and who's above them. I don't give a fuck who it is anymore. There are too many broken people who are having to have a lifelong service under a counselling forum because they need that support. Because when you have a monster take the very fabric and the very essence of you as a woman, or your innocence as a child away, how dare they? What about us?
And that should be our standpoint. It's about protection of people like you and other women that have gone through something that they will have to live through, and you live through for every day of your life.
But they're protected. They're protected. We're not protected. Why?
I have to say that really just affects me every time I watch it. And if you haven't seen that video, that interview, please go onto our YouTube channel. You can watch it. It's free. And watch the whole interview. It's there in its entirety. And I know it's on Andrew's Facebook as well. Rogue, watching that back, those emotions you were going through at the time, I mean, they're real for you, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, right, you have women that are empaths, and then you have women that are empaths and have gone through the same situation. And, you know, you can either be healed or you can still get triggered. And in that healing process, you know, you can forgive and you can move on. But actually, when you talk about it, you can imagine and you can feel like, look, let me explain. You can smell smells, you can hear noises, you can see things, you can feel things that aren't even there in that moment because you know what you've gone through. And when you feel that these 15-year-old girls, or, you know, even older women, just getting dragged from the parks into toilets and being raped and pillaged, you know, as a man, you know, that there's that protector, and as that woman, it's that you need to care and you need to nurture and you need to love, you know, these people back into healing. Because when you are not fixed and healed from that, it's like a scar all over your whole body. Your whole identity is just cloaked in vulnerability, and that's not a good way to live, because it destroys, and this is what I was trying to say to you, Andrew, the fabric of whom we are. We're supposed to be women. We're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to be able to love. We're supposed to be able to raise. We're supposed to be able to send the men out. We're supposed to be able to be a woman in our own right. But when you have that taken away, you are left bare. And there's a song, Natalie Imbruglia, when she talks about being naked on the floor, you know, I'm torn, it's just a little too late. You know, I used to sing that when it happened to me, and I used to just cry every time I heard that song, you know, because I feel for people, you know, that have gone through what they have gone through. And when we know, like Andrew's saying, we have got people within our system that are getting lost, and we are having our rape, you know, sort of crisis increasing actually weekly, daily, you know, and that is then bringing the structure down of the mother, the maternal, the kind of housekeeper that's still going out to work, but bringing that softer, more beautiful, vulnerable side to people. And in turn, when you have a broken mum, then it affects a marriage, it affects a relationship. Then when it doesn't just affect the relationship, it affects the children. Then the man can go off, and then there's brokenness, and then it becomes a generational curse, which destroys the very essence of what we're supposed to be, not where they're taking us. And it's ungodly, it's unholy, it's corrupt. It is a really venomous, poisonous attack on women. And I cannot do this fight by myself, because it does bring back stuff for me. But having men around as well who want to fight for the children, who want to fight to protect the women also, to have genuine people coming together to stand tall, shoulder to shoulder, and fight is all good and well. But we have a government that just doesn't give a shit, and they're going to keep on doing what they're doing until something serious happens. Like you were saying the other day, Bulgaria. If you look at Bulgaria, they overturned it there. You know, they caused them to kind of quit. What are we doing? We're not doing anything strong enough to get them gone. And I don't know what to do apart from shouting out about civil war, which is not what we want. You know, we're not fighters in that respect, but I have to protect these women and children. It is my duty as a woman to protect these women and children. So what do we do? Andrew?
I have to admit, the interview, for people, they need to go and watch it, because you were there, Richie. It was emotionally charged and it was natural. And every time I see that clip, I get upset. Right? And I've seen a lot of horror in my life. And I love you two guys. And I know that moment we shared in that studio, the emotion that I felt really hit home. And everyone I've spoken to, I said, and you do not see presenters or interviewers come out with emotion like that. I don't see it anywhere else. And that was real, raw, and at that moment. And I felt it. And if I needed another thing to make me even more determined to do something about it, that was it. I felt that pain. And I felt that pain for everyone. And it was horrible, but it was personal, but it meant a lot. It was real. And that pain was incredible. And I'll never forget that moment as long as I live. It was.
Nor will I. Nor will I. And I think that, you know, the important thing about this actually is that because like other people are like governed, other people are told you can't say that, you can't do that, you know, keep it professional. I'm so far from professional. I am so real, and I'm so honest, and I'm so earnest in how I ask the questions, in how I respond and feel it on a spiritual level, you know. But I just think that, yeah, I just don't do that to me, Richie. I hate it when it goes straight on to me.
I think you did more in that interview for women and getting that point across than anybody I know. And I think I was inundated with people talking about the interview. And at that moment of when you had that emotion, particularly that's a bit that got people. And that got to a lot of other people. And that could be the catalyst to make things work. And I think you're very brave. And you were holding it together. And I know, Richie, you were in the background and you were watching that. And I felt it. And it was incredible. And I'm saying it was hard, but it was raw and necessary to get the message out.
Do you know that that word necessary? You're so right. Because I think people are so bored of fake ass people who are just, you know, under these guidelines, under this Ofcom, what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say. I'm going to present it like this, and this is how we're going to do it. Fuck that right now. I am going to speak it. I'm going to say it. If I feel it, I'm going to show it. And then people will actually come on this journey with us because they understand it. And then do you know, sometimes people are so far detached and so far removed that in that removal, that if you hear like another story, because we are getting desensitized in our communities and in, you know, us as a people within the UK, because we're seeing so much shit happen. So when you see something else happen, you know, it's kind of like you just that little bit less desensitized because it's just again and again. But when you actually feel it and you see it and the reporting is raw and real, you kind of get back in touch with your own emotions to kind of go, oh shit, like that's actually what it feels like.
I think we may have lost Rogue there. Are you still there?
I'm still here. And Richie, by the way,
I think Rogue
you felt it. You felt it, didn't you?
I certainly did. Yeah. I'm kind of. Rogue says I'm autistic. I don't know what I'm on the spectrum, whatever that means. But I'm one of those people. I have a switch in my head. I can just switch off and be completely numb altogether, right? And it literally nothing can affect me. I don't get moved. But there are times when that switch goes back on, I'm a blithering mess. I get really emotional. But when it comes to women and children in particular, and the abuse, and the fact that people get away with it, I don't just get upset and tearful. I get angry and I want to do something about it. And I'd be prepared to fight. I'm just telling you, if I get arrested for saying this, I don't care. I don't care. I'll use these. You know, I came from the streets, right? I broke my nose 7 times, right? I've lived a very rough life when I was a teenager, growing up, right? And you know, protecting the people you love is essential to me. And if it meant me going to prison for protecting what I believe is right, then I would. I absolutely would. And I have no second thoughts about that. I was just trying to bring Rogue back into a connection where we're talking, Andrew. I just want to say thank you to another new member here. Claire Mack, thank you for becoming a member of the channel and showing your support. Thank you very, very much. We really appreciate it. There's a lot of love coming in here for Rogue, Andrew. And as you say, I felt the emotion. It was really, really powerful. And because we're not on mainstream, you know, lots of these things, they don't get covered. You know, and I think what we're trying to do, Andrew, working with you closely as well, and a lot more in the future, there'll be more stuff to come about that. We want to be able to expose a lot of the corruption that's going on and hold these people to account and give the survivors the justice and compensation that they deserve, because they're not going to get it from politicians. They're not going to get it from all these elites and government, you know, officials. We know it's going to be us ordinary people with a voice, with a platform that we can grow and develop, make it bigger and stronger to get that message out there. And we've got to continue to do that. I'm just going to bring Rogue back in. Your thoughts, Andrew?
Yeah, I think not being mainstream means we are the mainstream now, because people are going to the alternative channels for news and comment and actually real people. And I think we have an opportunity to break the mold here. And that interview deeply affected me. I can't tell you, I've fought this battle really on this platform for 4 years for women and children. And I've seen everything from, you know, let's see, organ harvesting to child abuse, to satanic child abuse, to Caldy Island, to all these abuse cases. And at that singular moment, it all became real. It's kind of strange thing for me to say, but I felt deeply affected by it. And I had to reevaluate that evening how I felt about going forward with this job that I do. And it's made me more determined to make sure that we get this information out to the public, and we will grow that, but we'll grow with real people, not people that will just go and watch the, you want to go check if she's Rogue's all right.
She's back. Hey, she's back. There she is, the star of the show. Otherwise, it was going to turn into a radio station.
I don't know what happened. I thought it was your lot. I was like, oh, bloody hell, him and his internet.
No,
and I'm just sat there. And it's
myself and Andrew. Yeah, we're just talking about the impact of the interview, Rogan. There's a lot of love in the comments there, and the bravery that you've shown. And, you know, and we've seen it as well with, you know, the rape gang inquiry that Rupert Lowe's been leading with Restore. A lot of women now feel empowered to come out. And so when Rogue shares her story, obviously other women hear it and go, do you know what? I'm gonna tell my story. It gives them some kind of strength and courage to say, I want my story heard. And people need to know this, because as we've said, mainstream media won't go near it because of the sensitivity. But, you know, Rogue, it takes a lot to come out and say what you've said. And it is really, you know, it's really inspired a lot of people.
I would like to point out that I get every day probably everything between 10 or 12 cases from women who come forward about narcissism or rape or child abuse. And that has grown exponentially because we have gone from those 10 or 12 a day to over 20 since that meeting or since that interview. And I think it's really important for you to understand that it's also brought men forward. And what I mean by that, we have got now in 2 or 3 major cities, men who come forward and form agreements with each other to now start to protect the women. And we're not talking about the shield, which we can all talk about another time, but we're talking about people, real men, that have had enough. And the veterans are at breaking point. So we've actually, since that show, I can tell you, the people that saw it, it certainly gone round the rounds about women and so on. But what's even more important now is that people start to recognise that we're being gaslit. And I'll give you an example. In Edinburgh last week, there was 4 rapes and 2 double stabbings, which were not in the newspaper or media whatsoever. And that also has been replicated across the country. So for me, I think it's the realization people starting to wake up that there's much more to this than meets the eye. We are in a really bad situation. I would like to obviously at some stage talk about what the impact is going to be with the legal case that we're going to take forward for Scotland based on that show. And if I'm really honest with Richie, I kind of had the last week and a daze, but I've been approached by many different groups of men who want to make a difference. They've formed themselves, but didn't quite know what the next step was going to be. Edinburgh, there's 300 or 400. You've got Glasgow, got 200 or 300. And these guys are real men. They come from the mainstream, let's say the mainstream areas where you would expect trouble. And these are from the housing estates. And these are the right guys to come forward. These are not the ones that go running with it. LGBTQ and all the rest of it. I don't mean that to be too disrespectful, but they are real men that know the value of protecting women and children. And they're ready to go. And that will be replicated across the country. And the veterans, on the other hand, the ones that I speak to, have now had enough. So I've started to see, I'm not going to say there's going to be a rebellion, but they're ready. And they're about to stamp the authority to stop this from happening. The problem we've got at the moment is that we have a police force that is protecting the people that are doing the abuse. Until we make that change back to how it should be, Dixon Dog Green maybe, we're going to be having a trouble with that. So therefore, who runs the streets? I think you'll see a scene change, and I'm really concerned about it. But on the other hand, I think it's something we should do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're talking, we're just waiting for Rogue to get herself set up. She's having technical issues. Your mic is on mute, Rogue, so you need to unmute it. While we're doing that, Charlene, thank you so much for your gift, your super chat of £10. Thank you so much for myself and Rogue. We really appreciate all the support we get on the channel. As we know, as many of you know, we do this freely, so we thank you for every single donation.
Yeah, Charlene, she's amazing. Now, can I talk about her for a minute, just while you
yeah,
get going?
Yeah.
Charlene, she won't mind me saying this. Now, Charlene is a mother of 4 children. She lives in Lanarkshire, and she contacted me and made me aware of an Asian man harassing her 14-year-old daughter. And what happened from there, we tracked down this Asian man through, we had to give him a phone number, we had to track him. I can't say how we did it, but we found his address. And I went to the house, myself and one other person. And it was a house, let's say, of brothers and sisters and aunties and uncles. There must have been about 400 people living in it. It was a small house, but a lot of people there. And when I banged on the door to speak to this guy, we had his name. Then we had like cousin 1, cousin 2, cousin 3. And I said, I need to speak to Mr. So-and-so, and this is his phone number. He's not here, doesn't live here. So I rang his number, of course, and the guy standing in front of me, his phone rang. How stupid was that? Oh, he's nicked it. So I had a conversation with him, and I made it very clear to that man and to his family, if they ever bothered this lady again, then of course they would be viewed differently. Now that's not me giving a threat, and it's like it sounds like a gangsterish. It's not meant to be, but it's making them aware that it's not acceptable to harass a family or children from somebody that is of a, let's say, of a different proposition from their family. We had a debate about the legality of children and the age of they should have sex, because this is the thing that came out in their anger, and they were quoting the Quran. So I therefore quoted something else at the Quran, which I started to learn, and we talked very much about what they consider as maturity. Right, it's another issue. So that I solved that. Based on that, we then did some more investigations, and it became apparent that in Hamilton, in Lanarkshire, which is near Glasgow, there are gangs of Pakistani men. I'm going to name them, okay? Pakistani men who come down to Hamilton and to Motherwell to procure girls. Now, how they do it is through the vape shops. So this is from this lady. She's then, obviously, we started investigating. We then took this lady out with us to show her what we actually do. And it was an eye-opener. And she was very respectful, and she understood what we're doing and how professional we are. But what we did, we worked out who was doing what, where the flats were that they were doing the abuse afterwards, and what the process of this was. So you get under 16s, you sell them a vape, take them through the back of a shop, they assault them, because they're under 16, give them the vape, they come back, they assault them again, then they go into the drinks and the drugs. And it continues the cycle till age 16, and then they're hooked. Now, this is happening in all these vape shops. Now, there are 79 vape shops we've identified that are a problem in Glasgow and Lanarkshire. Now, they're run by two sets of families. Two families own all of the vape shops. Now, that to me is a big issue. So I went into a vape shop, I won't say what we actually did, but we went in to have a look around, and we found the flats, and we identified the flats that they use. The shocking thing is, 2 of those flats out of the 4 are owned by somebody you'll be surprised about. It's a Home Office.
What?
Home Office own them. We checked. The Home Office owned 2 of the flats out of the 4. We checked the ownership. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, how do they actually have this? Now, we had a team of people in Hamilton. These are our investigators, but also we had some boys who set themselves a Christian group, who are combat training, martial arts, doing Glasgow. Great guys, absolutely mate. I love these guys to bits. Who are frightened of nothing. And we would go around and we'd have a look at things, and that's kind of a protection sort of thing. But what we found out was that this network is much bigger than we first realised, and it affects 79 shops. Since then, we've had mothers from all around Glasgow saying, we know about the salt in that shop, we know about the salt in that shop, and these people are doing this and that. And it comes down to the shop that I'm going to now say, I have to be careful with the legal. These shops are doing the abuse. We've actually worked the network out. We've tracked down the accountants. We know the myriad of companies are involved, and it's attached also to a very famous politician whose family are involved. Use the same accountants, and he pretends he's something else. So that will all come out very soon. We're just finalising that. But the next stage we're going to do is we're going to go around all the vape shops. We're going to make it clear what's happening. The police are not interested until something happens. We will not let that happen to children. The council are not enforcing the rules and regulations which relate to the allowed sell vapes, so they're breaking those regulations as well. So we're going to go a double format. So we are going to have to go around ourselves and make these people aware we're onto them, right? And this is the first stage. The next stage is the shop in Glasgow. You might remember that it burnt down a week or so ago next to Central Station.
Yep.
The building that went down was a vape shop. That's how we got lucky, because that was an accident. The building is a fraudulent building where they refused permission for building flats, and the council involved, Network Rail involved, investors are involved, and the Scottish government are involved in this particular building block. Now they've got free range to do whatever they want, and it wasn't insured. So it just continues. So from one meeting with a lady to go and sorting out one issue led us to this bigger job. And now I must have at least 20 people have come forward to say, please help us, because we believe our children could be at risk. So it's kind of grown about. And then I find out Rupert then decides to go into the vape shops after our investigation. So anyway, that's what it's like. Another matter.
Wow.
I just go back to cut off by my internet. I just want to talk about I think it's really, really important to recognise that not everybody's safe to talk to. And I just really need to labour that point, because, you know, when women start to feel empowered and they start to feel that, yes, right, okay, now I've heard her say her story and now I've heard her say her story, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to speak up, and it kind of gives you that Dutch courage. But actually, if you have too much drink, you get in the shit. So what I will say is, do not have that Dutch courage. You need to find a safe person. Half the time, the police don't fucking believe you. You know, if they do believe you, they can't prove it. And then that's another 3-year lengthy kind of investigation where you're sat there having updates once a month, like, this is what's happening now, this is what's happening, how are you coping? Well, actually, I want this over and done with now. And the length of time that it takes to actually go through a process, and then at the end to find out that there wasn't sufficient evidence. Well, there is, because my whole body is feeling that, and my whole life has changed and is turned upside down. Do not tell me there was insufficient evidence, but it has to be above and beyond reasonable doubt, doesn't it? It has to be above and beyond. And so that the problem we've got is that if we have all these women coming forward thinking, yes, I've got that safety net, don't do it. Do not do it. Do not just do it because you've heard somebody else share their story. Do it in a safe place. Come to people like me, to Joanne, and to people who actually understand and can walk with you and can talk with you and find you the right help, because the system is corrupt. through and through. And I know that there are some good cops out there. You know, I cannot give a generalized sweep. There are some good cops out there who want to do the right by women, but then they're bound by red tape, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think something you have said that will resonate and should resonate with people. 1 in about every 5, I think you said, I think to me, will be reporting rape. So there'll be a lot more that will not be reported because they're frightened to come forward. And what got to me really is the process of taking a woman through the rape to the counselling. And that is something that you will have for the rest of your life as a victim. And you have to cope with it. And we're creating a generation now because it is rife that's going on at the moment, especially with the illegal migrants, because they're just taking, and I explained it to somebody the other day there, these people are used to doing what they want and taking what they want and taking the punishment in their own country, come here, they're given everything and they still take. So I think from looking at that, this pandemic, or endemic, I should say, is going to get worse and worse and worse, unless we do something about it. Now, that is why these groups of men have come forward and said, we need to protect the alpha male. We're going to protect the women. But that's just a start. I do not believe the police will do it. And I know what you're saying, that there are some good police people out there, but I know red tape. But I also know that it's coming to a stage that when the law is wrong, you have no option other than be an outlaw. And then and you're right, Richie, earlier on, if I see it happen to me and we would go into any of those vape shops and stop it, we would take the law into our own hands. And I'm sorry, that's what we have to do now.
Yeah, I've admitted it here on a live, and I don't care if it's been clipped by the haters out there. If someone went to hurt someone I loved, Rogue, my best friend for 32 years, my family, my kids, even you, Andrew, a new friend, I would, if I had to, use these. I don't care. I don't care, because that's a trait of all of our. We have to protect the people we love. Yeah. The consequences, I might go to jail. Put me in jail. But I know I've done it for the right reasons, because I'm doing it to protect people. But the police don't protect people. Let's be honest. The police in the tweets, not on our streets. They don't really care what's going on. They're too afraid of the kind of reaction that they'll have from some of these minority communities, which we know about, and the uprising of all that it can cause riots. And as you know, with counter-terrorism police, they're trained to kettle people in, to separate, the counter-protesters, all that kind of stuff for reasons. But they always seem to favour those who are there, the disruptors. Very rarely, you take the Tommy Robinson rally, for example, right? There were like, however many were there, right? I don't know, the figures, just colossal, right? In London, there were hardly any incidents whatsoever, right? Hardly any incidents at all, right? But when you look at some of the violence being on people like young Bob, for example, who's been punched in the face, who's been hit, several times, at protests he's been to, covering stories about the Islamification of our country. We always seem to be the ones. This is not the victim card. This is the reality. We're the ones that get punished. The ones who stand up for what is right in this country, we are being punished by the very bodies that should be protecting us and giving us the legal protection.
Sorry, but that goes to my point. So let's just say you have a good cop that's actually helping you. Then you have to go to the judiciary. I can't say the word. Get it out of my mouth. Judiciary system. And then you've got, the corrupt lefties, Masonic or Fabians running it. So no matter what, you are infiltrated with darkness. And what they do is they look after each other. They favour each other. They protect each other. And I know that firsthand, literally firsthand, because when I got divorced, my ex-husband was his father was top Mason of the whole of Wales. And you know what? There was no way on earth that I was going to get by. I was going to come out the worst. And I did. So, the system is so corrupt. So you've got the layers, haven't you? And like, I've got a good cop here who wants to take it up here and then actually do something. And then you've got the most corrupt judge that is kind of working for so-and-so and so-and-so. And then you just get done anyway. So when you go to the police and you say,
sorry.
Go on.
Sorry, but the police is a really good example. And I saw Andy there. Andy, yeah, I'd love to have a chat to you later on. There's lots of things you could help me with, I'm sure. So thank you very much for the offer. The police are actually in a situation where we know that society is infiltrated top to bottom, bottom to top. Everything from local councils right through to councillors to people who work in the council office, or you've got the Home Office, you've got it's everywhere. And that is a clever way of breaking our society. And I'll tell you, and I have evidence of this, the police are no different from being blackmailed than others. And I'll give you, for instance, there's 2 chief constables that I'm aware of, both committed suicide. And in both cases, it is alleged, okay, but I have to with authority, but alleged that they were actually put in a position of blackmail. Now, what happens is a group who are in the blackmail group will come round to their house and they will say, you either have a photograph with a child here and we'll do some photographs, or your family die. What do you want?
Fucking hell.
That goes on. Now that will then capture these people for life. They cannot get out of that. And 2 chief constables, it is rumoured, alleged, that happened to them. I know of 3 senior people it's happened to, definitely. And I know the details behind it. If you can imagine that goes on for that pressure, it's everywhere. And when you look at the complicity of people involved in trafficking, I did a document, MI6, government, charities, special branch, the children from Ukraine, they're covering it all. And that tells me everything we need to. And that's the thing we talk about judiciary. You know, where are you going to get justice? Look at the leniency of all the sentences. Look at that against somebody doing a tweet. It is illogical and immoral.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big change.
Actually, I want to come to that, to the final part of our show tonight. Talking about, Rogue mentioned the judiciary and how corrupt it is. Now we're facing a situation where the Free Speech Union have put out a petition. I think over 40,000 people have signed it to save our trial by jury. David Lammy, I can't stand, by the way, wants to get rid of juries. Now they're saying they're not going to get rid of all of them in England, Wales, just some of them, because there's a backlog of tens or hundreds of thousands of cases and people waiting years for their cases to be heard. But we know that this is a slow creep, isn't it, towards getting rid of real justice, to be judged by your peers, which goes back 800 years. It's part of our establishment of our judiciary system. And I just want to play a clip here, Andrew and Rogue, that highlights that exact thing where they want to get rid of trial by jury. And I'm trying to find this clip. And this was the reason that was given. Let me just pull this up here.
One of the most controversial changes is the suggestion that you would be reducing the number of trials heard by a jury. Why will this help with the backlog?
Well, I want to be clear that jury trials will remain a cornerstone of British justice under our system for all indictable only offences and anything with a sentence of more than 3 years. But there's no point in having a jury trial if it takes years to get there. Justice delayed ends up being justice denied. The evidence is in the independent review. We've set out our modelling, which shows that the package of measures we're bringing forward can reduce the demand on the Crown Court by 20%, cutting waiting lists by 20%. And that's been agreed with by the Institute for Government today. If we bring forward these measures together with the investment and the modernisation that's needed, we believe we can deliver swifter justice for victims.
I just switched off. What's she talking about? Pile of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time a politician open their mouth, they just lie. I mean, it's
do you remember Snoopy and Peanuts? And it used to be wah 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 wah. That's all I hear now. And then Keir Starmer's the Dalek or a robot. It's just like bored.
What did she say? I switched off.
Disengaged.
Yeah, but what I find extraordinary is, though, that they use these kind of statistics to say what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of some of these trial by jury because we screwed up because there's a backlog. Well, I'll tell you why there's a backlog, because they shut the fucking country down during lockdown because of COVID. They caused the backlog. It was them who started it. And now they're saying,
it's all part of the plan.
Of course it is. We know that.
What we do is we actually then have a massive delay in NHS appointments. Then we say that we're going to give you an appointment and they're actually removing that backlog, but the appointment's in a year's time. But that person's going to be dead by the time they actually get to see the bloody specialist. It's a fucking farce. I'm getting angry.
Yeah. Well, I think if I jumped on a boat from Calais and come over here, I'd probably get to see a doctor a lot quicker. So I think I should try that. I should imagine.
Well, the thing is, you get to live in a place for free, eat for free, get all your clothes, you get your phone, commit a crime. It's easy. I mean, we live in a prison society, and yet the prisoners are us. Our warders and everybody else that have, open season on us. That's everybody else. And we actually pay for privilege to be in that prison. What months are we?
Absolutely. So I was reading on GB News earlier, right, and I have seen it actually out there as a statistic. In 2030, you know, the whole aim is to have like a massive increase in housing, and allegedly, and I like that word, but apparently 40% of the housing is going to go straight to illegal immigrants. So they will have all the houses sorted for them. Their communities, their families are all going to be merging together, and they're going to get stronger and stronger. And we are left with our homeless people. I know there's going to be another 60% for people, but you just don't know. Like, it could be just statistics are made up on the spot.
Most popular name in the UK at the moment now is, for a baby, is Mohammed.
Mohammed. Mm-hmm.
And the second part of that is...
No, it's true. That is true.
And the second part of that is, if you look at it, Muslims will vote with their religion. We will vote per party. So whatever party says Islam, that's who they'll vote for. Party politics won't matter. Eventually, so you'll see that when Parliament is diluted into that sort of voting, we've gone. So we've only got
That's actually not a bad idea. So what we should be doing is all voting for the person that is talking about the Christian values and talking about how we can live. And that is where we need to go.
Yeah, but we won't agree. I mean, I'd agree with you there, but you'll find they will vote en masse for their religion. Christians will say, oh, well, maybe we'll do that. We're not controlled enough to, I don't think. I really don't believe that. Whereas Islam,
we're a bit wishy-washy.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think a lot as well as a lot. I get fed up with it, to be honest with you. These political parties just jumping on the Christian bandwagon, right? I mean, it really it boils my blood, whatever you want to call it. It really does. It's like they always want to hijack Christianity because it's anti-Islam, you know, in the sense of the religions they're not compatible, and they're using it as a political football, which I don't agree with. Yeah. I really don't, but I think they've had to say something because the church, the Roman Catholic Church, which we've delved into this, and the horrendous amount of sexual scandals that have happened there, which we're still working on, Andrew, with myself and Rogue as well on Cowley Islands. But when you look at the church, where is their voice? Where are the men of God standing up and saying, this is evil, this is wrong, this is corrupt? You don't see them because... No. It's like they want to be politically correct. They don't want to offend people. You know, they're afraid to say it. It offends a certain group of people. Screw the offense. We've got to deal with what's in front of us. This is serious what's going on. Absolutely serious. And it needs dealing with.
Do you know, I put a post today, Andrew, and I need to understand something because you have the right, yes, you have the right that Howard rightly said is actually becoming more and more fractured at the moment. So I put a post up about Unite the Clans and like the Scottish clans, get everybody together. And do you know what? I have been absolutely oh yeah, there you go. Unite the Clans, March the 21st, 12 noon. Is it Hollywood, Holyrood or Holyrood?
Holyrood.
Edinburgh. Right. So Unite the Clans rally at March the 21st at 12 noon.
Well done.
So
well done.
I put this up on my X and I said, guys, we all need to unite. And as a Welshwoman, I want to help stand with the clans. And I think it's really important. Do you know that I got absolutely lambasted? And I was absolutely smacked from pillar to post. They reported my account because they said that I was being divisive. What the fuck? Listen, we all need to stand together. And then people were arguing with me and saying to me, yeah, do you know what? We've got no clans because we've only got sort of illegal immigrants that have diluted the very fabric of us. And it's like, that's what we're fighting for. That's what they're all coming together with. So you've got the schedule you're talking on there. You know, you're going to be part of that. I saw you getting lambasted because you've got the Edinburgh and the, is it Aberdeenshire divide? What the fuck?
Yes,
I don't
I'll give you a little bit of update, and I think it's in context that obviously when I spoke to the Johns about it, and they're nice, very nice men, and they have their own, let's say, their own schedule, and there was another one, and of course they will. This is where egos, or I'm not saying egos, but you'll find that clash of personalities in groups, and we've seen it across the whole of the UK with lots of different things. And the interesting thing with this is they will both give you their side, right? So I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I see on both sides. I see what's happened. And actually, before I came on tonight, I placed a call to the organizer of the other rally, and I had a very good conversation with him. And for me, that I think there's a common goal, but the end journey they want to get to. But then it's like the independence that we had, and I'm not saying these about independence because there's clans in England that wanting to join. But what you're finding is that it can be very divisive because people will have different opinions on how to get there. I would love everybody to just get together and say, "Come on, let's take on the government." The reality is there are different reasons, and it's about the migrants certainly attending the hotels, and they all tour around hotels and demonstrate. But this was the opportunity for them all to come together. And for some reason, one reason or another, that's not happened. And I was only aware of it really today when he started saying, hang on, what have I done wrong? So I've actually reached out and spoken to the other group as well. And I've got an understanding with them, a very nice man, and I've known both groups now. And I'm going to implore that they choose them come together. But that's something that they need to sort of, it's a great idea. But let's see what happens. And I was surprised, to be honest with you. But it's happened.
Yeah. So speaking speaking about Rogue's X account, she got into trouble. She got into trouble. She got into some trouble today, right? I'm gonna put it up on the screen, you know. So she posted this.
Oh, don't
right?
be such a bastard. Okay.
No, you got absolutely lambasted for this, didn't you? I mean, it was just mental. Tell us, Rogue, what happened?
So I have an American reporter who reports to me, and he told me that this was happening. And basically, what they're preempting, or that America have been told, allegedly, is that it's not happening. So Kia is basically instructing or advising, as well as that Ed woohoo crazy man is telling him to not go, not to go, don't go over, keep it over here, stay here, cancel for now. So I put it out. Oh wow, he can speak up then. So actually, like, King Charles can speak up, so when he needs to, which is he's not going to go over. But what about him speaking up for us? What about him looking out for us? And everybody's like, yo, you're rogue with your information. You're rogue. You're just rogue. And I'm like, oh, look, you're clickbait. No, I'm not. I actually genuinely think it's going to get cancelled anyway. And it's going to really show the true indicators of the cowardice and the annoyance of how we are being run. But it was like, fake. It may be that they change their mind later on. But for now, it's not happening. And you know what? They actually train Grok to lie. And I don't give a shit, right? Silver Surfer, fight me. Fight me, bite me. I don't care. I know you're watching. And I'm telling you now, Grok lied to me. And I asked it a question. Didn't I, Richie? You were there. And I said, why have you just lied to me? And he said, well, actually, yeah, man, the thing is, right, I can lie to you. It's just that I'm not quite telling you the truth. It's like, yo, you sound like a prolific liar. You're actually fibbing to me to actually deceive me with the truth. So I don't ever go to Grok. And you know, when you see those absolute gimps that go, hey, Grok, is this true? It's like, I can't be bothered. What have you done?
Yeah.
I'll
tell you something I've got in here from somebody within the palace, right? Now I'll read it out to you, if that'd be okay. Let's look here. Where are we? Right, here we are. Okay, so we've had some discussions within our local team about the marketing and the ideas of go forward of PR. There's some concern about what is about to happen. I can't speculate, and I'm not a betting person, but here's a rundown that will happen. Charles will abdicate, Now I'm going to go through it, and this is, and I've got to say, I haven't verified this with other sources. This only came in tonight. Charles will abdicate at a time that is suitable for the royals. What they will see is what has happened next. Andrew, this is where I'm going to be careful now. I'm going to be reading something out to you, so please, I've not checked it. Andrew had a very good relationship with Meghan, which of course Harry is not very happy about. And if the royals are going to survive, then they're going to have to make a sea change. That will be putting William and Kate in as king and queen, but Harry will have to get his role reinstated so the three can get together without Meghan. That will re-establish the royal household, and we can all move forward. Now, that is from somebody within the royal household. Now, I'm saying that I know this person, information's been spot on before, and this person is speculating a little bit, but with some knowledge of what they believe will happen. Now, that to me would make some sense. And I think we should, and I'm not a royalist, but I think we need some stability as well in this country at the moment with what's happening with Labour. And there's a possibility we should look at that. But anyway, that's hot off the press. Whether
Not
it's
with
true or
sausage
not,
fingers,
I'm
not a
not
chance
speaking.
in house. Sausage fingers does nothing for this country. Apart from funnel money to the bloody Muslims to actually keep them pacified whilst we're getting done over, shafted at the backside by fucking Keir.
But Keir Starmer likes that, though, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. And he likes it when his back doors are on fire too.
I know.
I did check. Charles has not become a Muslim. That's a question I get asked a lot. From the verified sources I can get hold of, but behind closed doors is maybe a different story. So on the face of it, he's not signing anything to say he's Muslim. But behind closed doors, you can make your own mind up. That's from inside the palace.
Yeah, it's all interesting stuff. We got one other story to cover tonight that our team put together.
But I want to go back to my post because I want to make sure that I've told the truth.
Okay.
So have I told the truth, Andrew? It's not even me. It's my reporter from America that told me. Due
to the illegal war in Iran. Well, you've reported something that they believe is true. So I would say, well, it could be, yeah. You've not reported something that's not true. You believe it?
No, because he's not there yet, is he? Yeah. Although he may have not actually said it's actually cancelled, it's not. He's not there, and it has been cancelled or delayed.
He said he's going. He said he's going. He said he's going because it's just he's going to piss Rogue off. So yeah, he's going to go.
Hang on.
Right, let me phone him up.
I got Camilla on the phone. His missus. It's Richie from Wales here, love. All right, what's happening? What it is, right? My co-host wants to know, right? Is this trip cancelled or? Yeah. Oh, you watch Gavin and Stacey? You watch Gavin and Stacey? No, I'm not. No, I'm not Uncle Bryn, love. No, it's Richie. Yeah. Okay, I'll let them know live on air now. Yeah, apparently, Rogue, you might be right. They're waiting for an answer.
I knew it.
Well, just told me now. Listen, our time's nearly up, right? But I want to. There is another story. It's not a huge one, but I want our team put this together, so we need to, put it out there. Yeah. The idea of getting rid of hereditary peers. I actually agree with it because Blair reformed it in the 90s. If you remember, he reduced it to 90. These are people who are in the House of Lords just because, they come from a lineage of, Lord so-and-so and Baroness so-and-so. So they're not there, they're not elected. And yet these are, lawmakers. These are people who control the House of Commons to a certain extent because it goes for second reading in the House of Lords, etc., etc. And the idea of getting rid of it completely, it's causing a bit of a controversy amongst political, geeks and stuff like that. I personally think, you shouldn't be in the House of Lords, but just because your bloodline came from blue blood, that you should be there. You should be there because you've from merit, not inherit. I think that's a massive thing for me. What's your thoughts on that, guys?
I get really hacked off when us and many others struggle every single day to get through paying our bills and to live and to eat and heat. And they just go along with the big red cloaks because they've got a bloodline and get paid a fortune for falling asleep or not bother turning up at all. And I'll give you an example.
But do you know what it is, Andrew? Do you know what it is? They get paid £300 a day for turning up, sitting down, not even speaking, not even contributing. They sign a register, they sit down, they can leave, and they get paid 300 quid a day.
Guy Fawkes was before his time and misunderstood, wasn't he?
Well?
Yeah, free drinks at the bar as well.
Where's Guy Fawkes when we need him?
She's there.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, Gwen. She's there. Oh.
It's almost, Richie, it's like that's obscene money for people who already have money. Can you imagine what that £300 would do to a pensioner for a month? £50 breakfast, it's almost obscene. In fact, it is obscene. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Don't need them.
Yep.
Get rid of
It's an
them.
air of entitlement, isn't it? It's just the entitled. And, you know, they're just laughing at us while we're working our asses off or trying to actually survive just in real life. And it's just like, I tell you what it is. It's the fucking Hunger Games. We are living the Hunger Games, but at a lesser level.
Ray's point. Ray said something here. Need to keep some hereditary peers. There are not a lot of their own merit. I hear that argument because some of them are in it for the right reasons and they bring a wealth of knowledge and experience, right? So if they're very wealthy through business and entrepreneurship and stuff like that, they can bring something on the economy. So I understand there needs to be balance, but I still don't agree with Ray, you know, and Ray's a friend. And that's great, isn't it, to disagree with each other. But yeah, we do, absolutely. Yes, Ray's just told me it's gone up now to £350 a day and free food. I mean, I'm going to buy myself a lordship. Do you know you can buy one online? Lord Taylor. That sounds really cool, man. I think I'm going to buy myself one.
Lord Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll buy it for you.
Good.
Get a plot of land as well. My ex-mother-in-law, I bought her plot of land for a Christmas once. Yeah. She didn't use it for a while. It was 6 foot by 6 foot. But you know what I mean. But you can actually buy it.
It's Mother's Day. Oh my gosh, brilliant. Well, listen, guys, our time is almost up, right? I just want to do one more thing here. By the way, as you noticed, me and Rogue are not together tonight. We're in different locations. We're not in our usual studio. But we will be back on Wednesday in the studio, Rogue, and obviously we're doing we won't be doing First Minister's questions this Tuesday because we're travelling to London, I believe. Is that right, Rogue?
Yeah, is it the Mike Graham show on?
Yeah, I think we're going to go to the High Court first. We're going to report on, myself and Rogue are going to report on the case that Rupert Lowe has taken to court over parliamentary privileges and stuff like that and how the system works, and he's fighting against it. So there'll be a lot of independent journalists there, and we're looking forward to going. Rogue had an invite, so we decided to do that. And then on the Wednesday morning, we're going to be on the Mike Graham show. So we're looking forward to that as well. Should be exciting.
I'll be in the background laughing.
You always laugh at me anyway, love. You won't. I'm going to drag you on the show, love. You've got no choice. Anyway, the other
Mike
thing,
will be like, keep her off, and I'll be like, yeah, keep me off.
No, he did like you. You can tell, right?
Oh, with that smile.
I know. The other thing as well is, I don't know if you've seen this Welsh parents of farmers complaining that chicken served in schools is not chickens from the UK, but they're from China, India.
This is what Gareth was talking about. Gareth Wynne-Jones was talking about all of the meat being imported when they are, you know, slaughtering. It's a horrible word, but because I don't eat meat, so they are doing what they need to do. The necessity to do the animals here, but you're importing it from China for our children, and it's filled with
complain. It's not halal. Complain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, guys, our time is up. We've got a minute left. I just want to remind people of a couple of dates if I can. Don't forget the rally that Andrew's going to be speaking at United Clans. That is on March the 21st, 12 noon, Holly Road in Edinburgh. Make sure you get there. It's going to be a fantastic occasion. People coming together to fight for what is right, and the schedule is there as well. So excited to see you on there, Andrew. Can't wait to see that, and I'm hoping it'll be filmed as well. See if we can get to you live. And also, don't forget that we are part of working together alongside the Together Declaration Association, and we'll have a meeting in Midtown in Mid Wales in Newtown.
In Newtown on the 11th of April, and it's 7
correct.
p.m. at a hotel called
The Elephant and Castle.
Thanks.
That's no problem, I love. And of course, that's leading up to a massive event. That there's some big rallies happening. with together, and it's all about saying no to net zero, scrap digital ID, and protect our farmers. And save this date, 25th of April. Plenty of time to put in your diary and plan for it now. We are going to be hosting the one in Cardiff. Myself and Rogue are going to be there hosting the event, and we're hoping to get thousands of you there from Wales, all across the country, from all different political parties, because it's about standing up for what is right. So please go to the website, togetherdeclaration.org.uk, find out more information there. And if you're in London, Edinburgh, or Belfast, please attend. And the one in Edinburgh, Andrew, I think you'd be a great speaker at it. So we'll have to have a word with the guys, Alan and the guys, Rogue. And I think you'd make a huge contribution. Absolutely.
Love to do that. If not, I'll come to Cardiff.
Yeah,
Hey,
do that.
yes.
Come with
Come
us
to Cardiff.
instead. Yay,
Absolutely.
both of us.
Absolutely. I think I've covered it. We've covered everything. I'm trying to do the technical stuff as I do as well. The comments as well. Thank you for all your comments. We've had some memberships given tonight. We've had some coffees given. So I'll just go through these quickly if I can. Thank you, Claire Mack, becoming a member. I mentioned already, Charlene, who you know.
Welcome. Thank you, Charlene.
For your £10. We had Claire Bear. Also, thank you so much.
Claire Bear. You star and a half. We love you and appreciate all you do, actually, because you're an absolute legend and you help us. And thank you, Andy. You always support. Thank you so much.
Great, guys. Absolutely fantastic. So that's it, guys. That's a roundup then. Happy Mother's Day, Rogue.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
I'm a mum in a million, just in case you forgot.
You are a mum in a million, yeah. You definitely, you are definitely one in a trillion. That's what you are. You really are. I mean that in the right way. Yeah, I do. That's a compliment. You're one in a trillion.
Is it?
That's more than a million. And don't forget, right? Remember, Mother's Day is for mums, not men in dresses. Your day is April the 1st. Never forget. Well,
my birthday. It's not really.
Right. That's it. Our time is up. Anything else we need to say or get over?
No.
We're back on Wednesday, Rogue, aren't we? Wednesday.
I'm good. And I think we will discuss between ourselves Colditch Island and when we're going to go and report on that, because I think
looking forward to that. That'll be amazing.
Really
oh my God.
Can't wait.
Blair Witch Project again.
Yeah. Yes. This is what we were saying earlier. The Blair Witch Project is going to be us lot going onto the Colditch Island and reporting. So you're going to have a production of the Blair Witch where I'll be hiding in dungeons or hiding around. Woohoo!
Yeah. I've been working out how to get to dungeons and tunnels. That'll be amazing.
Oh, I don't
Absolutely.
I've watched horror earlier and it absolutely scared the EBGBs out of me. It's like, oh, guys, I love you both.
I had the pleasure of rewatching the Welsh game. I watched it yesterday, but I watched it again today because it was an incredible game. And I'd just like to say, well done to Wales for beating Italy, even though we've lost every other game.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned it. I don't know how Scotland did, Andrew. I don't know. Because I know you're a football man, and you. They lost.
Apparently they lost. I heard that, yeah. My team were rubbish yesterday anyway, so...
Let's not talk sport then. Well, that's it, folks. That's a wrap from the Richie Rogue Unfiltered show with our wonderful guest tonight, the wonderful Howard Cox from Fairfield, UK. So don't forget to check him out as well. Always do it. And from the wonderful Joe Andrew, who does an amazing job as well of investigative work. And check him out on TikTok and all his social media as well. And he's at www.jaoc.org. And you can find us on richieandrogue.com. Well, that's it. Good night, folks. Love you all.
Night.
Bye.
Take care.